Okay. Welcome students. Welcome to the Biological Life Sciences channel. Today we are going to uh, start with the new topic, that is energy flow. This is in continuation with the topic which was taught in the uh, last 2 days. Means I have taken the lecture on this topic, that is energy flow in the ecosystem, and we will be continuing on that. So let's start with the topic. I think in the last lecture we have started with the points you must be knowing. You can see these were the points that we discussed. That is, the term ecosystem was coined by Arthur G. Tansley. Okay. Then we discussed about the spatial pattern. Okay. Spatial pattern and spatial pattern in the ecosystem, that is stratification, that is vertical uh, distribution of these species, and zonation, that is a horizontal distribution of species. Okay, we have seen lots of examples of that also. We saw examples of that also. So therefore we will and then we dealt with different examples. Here you can see. Then what is productivity? We discussed the 4 different points that is very important for an ecosystem. That is, first, productivity. Okay, and then we discussed types of productivities. After productivity we discussed about decomposition. Okay, and then after decomposition we discussed fragmentation, mineralization, and humification. Okay, so all these processes were there, that was discussed in the last lecture. Today we will be moving further in the same topic through the next point, that is energy flow. Okay, so energy flow here, uh, we will be discussing about the energy flow here in this. So I welcome you all to the lecture, today's lecture. If any doubt, please do comment. Good evening to you, students. Starting of energy. Okay, starting of energy flow in the ecosystem. The energy flow starts in the ecosystem through the main energy reservoir, that is sun. Okay, so we must be knowing that sun is the ultimate energy reservoir. Okay, now how the sun works, or how the sun's energy is transferred to the earth, that we are going to see here. Okay, so the sun's energy is transferred to the earth uh, through through various ways. Okay, so that we are going to see here. Okay, so remember, whatever the energy that sun is transmitting, that total energy of the sun transmitted is always not accepted or not absorbed on earth. Okay, so whatever the energy that is emitted by sun is not accepted on earth. Okay, 100% energy. Okay, out of the total incident solar energy, less than 50% of it is photosynthetically active. Means what? Whatever the energy that is transmitted by sun, 100% energy is not photosynthetically active. Okay, out of that, only 50% energy uh, is actually important for photosynthesis. So this molecule photosynthetically active. Okay, remember, this photosynthetically active radiation is very important, because this is the radiation that is absorbed or that is observed on earth. Okay, so this is the radiation that is observed on earth. Okay, so plants and photosynthetic bacteria fix the energy to prepare their own bacteria that are using. So plant and bacteria are using this inorganic material. Okay, So plant and bacteria are using this inorganic material, that is CO2 and water. Okay, remember CO2 the plant is taking from where? The CO2 is the plant is taking CO2 from environment. Okay, the plant is taking CO2 from environment. So what are the things required for photosynthesis? First is carbon dioxide. Okay, then what is required? Second, H2O is required. Okay, then sunlight is required. Okay, so sunlight, out of that 100% sunlight, how many percent of sunlight is taken? It is only 50% of the sunlight that is actually important for photosynthesis is taken. Okay, okay, so this photo 50% of the light is called photosynthetic radiation, or PAR, photosynthetically active radiation. Okay, out of this 50% that is taken by all the autotrophs on earth. All the autotrophs means what are the organisms? All the autotrophs means uh, okay, so it may be photosynthetic bacteria, or it may be for all kinds of plants that fixes the energy. Okay, so out of this all the autotrophs, only 2 to 10% of the energy is photosynthetically active radiation. Out of this 10%, only 2 to 10% of the photosynthetically active radiation is taken up by plants. Okay, 2 to 10% of the photosynthetically active radiation is only taken up by the plants. Okay, so see, you can imagine the amount of uh, okay, the amount of sunlight that is used is very less. If we now, okay, now let us no reverse flow of the energy. Okay, so energy is first of all, energy is present in sun. Okay, from sun, then goes after plants, energy goes to consumer. Okay? Energy goes to consumers. The flow of energy is unidirectional or in a single direction, that is in a forward direction only. Okay, so this tells you the energy flow is always unidirectional. Okay, so here it says the first energy autotroph needs a constant energy supply to for the purpose of photosynthesis they require uh, energy, and this energy they get it from sun. Okay, so therefore they are called as producers. Okay, so in terrestrial system, major producers are, what are the major producers? The herbaceous woody plant are major producers, and in aquatic system it is phytoplanktons or algae that are acting as a major producers. Okay, then this energy is consumed by consumers. Okay, these are heterotrophs. Okay, so what happens? Okay, so if they feed these consumers, they feed on directly plants. Okay, so therefore they are called as primary consumers. Okay, so if animal and other eats plants, if animal eats other animal, then these animals are called secondary consumers. Okay, so first of all, there is a producer, then there is primary consumer, then there is a secondary consumer, and then there is a tertiary consumer too. Okay, so animals such as lion, yes, vultures, all these are called as tertiary consumers. Okay, So remember, the primary consumer is always a herbivore. Okay, herbivore means plant eating animals are called as herbivores. Okay, so primary consumer is always a herbivore. And then examples are grass. Some common herbivores are insects such as aphids. Okay, birds. In birds, example bats. In mammals, so you can see that. And after you can see there are lots of examples here. First, trees. Primary consumers are zoos. Okay, now animals, that is birds, fish, wolf, etc. These are okay. Uh, is the voice clear to you, all of you? Okay. So let's move further. So, now we are going to see food chain. Okay, what we are going to see? We are going to see about food chain. Okay, what is food chain? Food chain is a always food chain are always straight, and it is the sequence of eating and being eaten. Okay, food chain is the sequence of eating and being eaten. Okay, so what happens in food chain? First organism which is present, that is suppose plants are present. Okay, okay, these plants are eaten up by whom? These plants are eaten up by herbivores. Okay, we will take an example of a herbivore. For example, rabbit. Okay, now these plants are eaten up by rabbit. In plants we are taking an example of grass. Okay, in plants we are taking an example of grass. Okay, now grass is eaten by rabbit. Okay, this rabbit is eaten by lots of organisms. We will put a name wolf. Okay, so this becomes a food chain. Okay, this becomes a food chain. Okay, it starts with grass, then it is eaten by rabbit, and rabbit is eaten by wolf. Okay, this becomes a food chain. Okay, now this is called as a grazing food chain. What kind of food chain it is? It is a grazing food chain. Okay, why? Because it always starts with the producer. Okay, remember, grazing food chain always starts with the producer. Okay, and next is detritus food chain. There are three types of food chain, students, that I am explaining you. The first type of food chain therefore it is called as grazing food chain. The second type food chain starts with the dead matter, okay? Dead matter, okay? Then this dead matter is degraded and it is released from soil, from soil are taken up by the plant. Okay, so the chemical energy that is released by dead matter is taken up by the plant. Okay, now these plants carry forwards the energy, and these plants are eaten by again grasshoppers. Suppose, okay, these plants are eaten up by grasshopper. Okay, now eaten up by grasshopper. Okay, now this grasshopper is again eaten up by what? It is eaten up by frog. This grasshopper is eaten up by frog, and then frog is eaten up by snake, and snake is eaten up by eagle. Okay, snake is eaten up by eagle. Okay, so what this tells you, in this food chain, in this kind of food chain, what it tells you, the food chain starts with the dead matter. Okay, since the food chain starts with the dead matter, then this dead matter provides the minerals to the plant, and then this minerals is taken up by the plants, and the plant is eaten by grasshopper, and grasshopper is eaten by frog, and frog is eaten by snake, and snake is eaten by eagle. So this is a sequence of eating and being eaten. And since this food chain starts with the dead matter, it is also called as what? It is also called as detritus food chain. Okay, it is mentioned over here. See, this is called as detritus food chain. Earlier we saw grazing food chain. Now we are seeing detritus food chain. Okay. Okay, so this was the second type of food chain, okay, that we are going to see. Now the third type of food chain is called as parasitic food chain. Okay, third type of food chain is called as parasitic food chain. Okay, now I'll give you an example of parasitic food chain. Okay, now you must have seen cows and buffaloes grazing in grasslands. Okay, cows and buffaloes grazing in grasslands, and in on that back of that cows and buffaloes, there are small birds that is eating the lices or insects that is present on the body of these organisms. Okay, so these organisms are actually parasite. Okay, what these organisms are? These organisms are parasite. Okay, now these parasites are eaten up by birds. Okay, then birds are eaten up by, suppose, cats. Okay, cats also eats birds. Cats and other animals are there. Okay, carnivores, I'll write. Okay, then these carnivores are sometimes eaten by larger carnivore, that is called as secondary producer. We'll put a name of lion here. Okay, so since this food chain starts with the parasites, this is called as parasitic food chain. Okay, this is called as parasitic food chain. Okay, I think the types of food chain is clear with you, all of you. Is it clear to all of you? Okay. Okay, so we shall move further now. Okay, so see here, example of a simple grazing food chain is given: grasshopper, then deer, then leopard. Okay, this is a grazing food chain. Okay, uh, now the detritus food chain, always remember, starts with the saprophytes. Okay, saprophytes are the animals that that lives on decomposed matter. Okay, so decomposes secretes enzyme that breaks down dead matter into simple and inorganic matter, and which are absorbed by the plants. Okay, now the detritus food chain can be connected with the grazing food chain, as the dead and decomposed matter uh, that dissolves in soil, or that releases its mineral into soil, and from soil these minerals are taken up by the plants. Okay, so in turn the energy in the form of chemical is taken up from the detritus to the plant, and then from plant to other organisms, as we just saw in the examples above. Okay, so these were the types of food chain. Okay, now what happens, you must have seen here, this bird can be eaten up by lots of animals. Okay, birds can be eaten by cat, then tiger is there, okay, then dogs is there, okay. So birds can be eaten up by lots of animals, okay. So these food chains are always interconnected, okay. Never a food chain is never a single food chain. It is always interconnected, okay. So all the interconnections or the natural interconnections of food chain makes up the food web, okay. These natural interconnections of the food chain makes up the food web, okay. What it makes up? It makes up the food web, okay. So you can see a photograph of food web is shown to you here, where the primary level is occupied by whom? The primary level is occupied by producers, okay. The primary level is occupied by producers, okay. The secondary level is occupied by whom? The secondary level is occupied by primary consumers. Okay. These primary consumers are called as what? These primary consumers are called as herbivores. Okay. Now these primary consumers are eaten up by the secondary consumers. Okay. So these are the secondary consumers. Okay. These are the secondary consumers. Okay. Now these secondary consumers are taken up by the tertiary consumers, and this is how the food chain this is how the food chain is proceeding. And in this diagram you can see, all the animals are interconnected with each other, means all the different animals at the tertiary level can eat the number of secondary consumers. The number of secondary consumers can eat lots of primary consumers, okay. So since these in this diagram the organisms are interconnected with each other depending on their nutrition, therefore it is called as food web, okay. So it is the natural interconnection, it is the natural interconnection between the different kinds of food chain, that is called as food web, okay. Is food web clear to all of you? Okay, so let's go to the next point, that is trophic levels, okay. I told you the first level is what? The first level of producers, okay. The first level is of producers, okay. Okay, second level is of primary consumers, okay. Third level secondary consumers, and then tertiary consumers, okay. The primary consumers occupies the first trophic level, okay. Secondary consumers occupies the second trophic level, third trophic level for secondary consumers, and fourth trophic level for tertiary consumers, okay. Okay, so remember, as we go from producers to the tertiary consumers, the energy goes on decreasing, okay. So the energy is maximum in the producers, okay. Energy is maximum in the producers and energy is lowest in the tertiary consumers, and energy flow is unidirectional, okay. Energy flows in a particular direction, that is from producers to the consumers, tertiary consumers. Energy flow in this direction only, it is never ever reverse, okay. So that is what is shown to you here using an example. See, from the sun's energy, suppose the total photosynthetically active radiation that is absorbed by plants, suppose it is 1000 joules, okay. Suppose this photosynthetically active radiation is 1000 joules, okay. It is marked over here, see, okay. Suppose it is 1000 joules, okay. Now this energy is present in plants, okay. So this energy present in plants is about 1000 joules. Now when this plant grows, it respires, it performs various functions, okay. So all these functions leads to the loss of 900 joules of energy, okay. All this leads to the loss of 900 joules of energy that is lost to the environment, okay. Now only 100 joules of energy that is produced by the plant is actually available for the primary consumers, that is called as herbivores. Okay, that is called as herbivores. And out of this 100 kilojoule of the energy, the primary consumer, that is herbivore, loses 90 joules of energy into the environment. Okay, now this 90 joules of energy is lost. Now remaining energy is what? 10 joules. Okay, this 10 joules of energy is actually taken up by the tertiary consumer, and this, see here, directly tertiary consumer comes here. Now middle consumer is not there actually. Sometimes it may be there, sometimes it may not. Okay, so it depends on the food chain. Here in this food chain only three animals or three trophic levels are shown. Okay, now in the last trophic level, 9 joules of energy is lost to the environment, and only 1 joule of energy is present with the last animal that is present in the food chain. Okay, so when we see here, we come to know that energy is lost at every trophic level, and this energy loss is called as 10% law given by R. Liderman in 1942. Okay, what this 10% law states that, okay, this law states that only 10% of the energy is transferred to the each trophic level as the net energy from the previous trophic level. Okay, so from a particular trophic level, whatever the energy that is being transferred to the next trophic level, that is always 10% of the total energy. Okay, you can see here, out of the 1000 kilojoule energy na, only 10% energy, that is 100 kilojoule energy, is transferred to the next generation. Out of that 100 kilojoule, 90 kilojoule is lost in the environment, and only 10 kilojoule is transferred to the next generation. Okay, so this is 10% law that is sometime asked in exam. Okay, and this law is given by R. Liderman in 1942. Remember this. Okay, so at different trophic levels, different animals are there, as I told you in the above example. At the first trophic level, there are always predator. Second trophic level, there are herbivores. Then third trophic level, there are primary carnivores. And then fourth trophic level, there are secondary carnivores. And then if fifth trophic level exists in the nature, sometimes it also exists, then it is tertiary carnivore and then ultimate carnivores. Okay, this is how the division of the trophic level goes. Okay, and this division of trophic level, students, can be easily depicted or represented using a simple pyramid. Okay, this can be easily depicted by using a simple pyramid. Okay, so these are called as ecological pyramid. Okay, so what are ecological pyramid? Ecological pyramid are graphic representation of the relationship between organisms of various successive trophic level. Okay, what we do, we represent the energy, the number, the biomass of that particular organism in the form of a pyramid. Okay, then it can be a pyramid of energy, it can be a pyramid of biomass, it can be a pyramid of number. Okay, so this pyramid representation helps us to know the energy level, the number, the biomass of a particular food chain. And this concept was first time developed by scientist known as Charles Ilton. Okay, Charles Ilton. Okay, the name is given as Ilton. It is Charles Ilton in 1927. Okay, what he did, he represented the biomass. Three things. Okay, first is biomass. Three things he used. Okay, first is biomass. Then second is number of organisms in the ecosystem, number, and third he used is energy. Okay, so he represented all the three things using trophic level in the form of pyramid. Okay, using trophic levels in the form of pyramids. Okay, so there are three ecological pyramid, as I told you. The first is pyramid of biomass. Okay, first is pyramid of biomass. Okay, then second is pyramid of number. Okay, then third is pyramid of energy. Okay, three pyramids are there. Okay, so the relative number of individuals per unit area at different level constitutes a number pyramid. Okay, at different level, whatever the number of organisms that are present, that represents the pyramid of number. Okay, whatever the amount of weight, that is dry weight of the organism, is calculated, then it will be a pyramid of biomass if the dry weight of the organism at different level is calculated. Okay, and if the energy is calculated, it is called as pyramid of energy. Okay, so Energy is calculated in energy per unit area, remember. Okay. Okay. So we are going to see certain examples here. See, pyramid of biomass is given to you here. Okay. Example of pyramid of biomass. Okay. This is the example of pyramid of biomass. Okay. Okay. So at first trophic level, you can see there is always producers. As I told you, there are about 900 kilograms of grass. Okay. At the first trophic level, there are about 900 kilograms of grass. Okay. This is the dry weight of the grass, remember. Okay. So the maximum mass is produced or is given by producers. So it is the first trophic level. Okay. Now at the second trophic level, whatever the mice that are actually eating this grass is about 100 kilos. Okay, 100 kilos. Okay, total mouse that is present in that ecosystem. The mass of that mouse is sum up, and this mouse represents only 100 kgs. So comparatively, the base of the pyramid is broader. It represents the more amount of mass. Okay, and the mice is having less mass, so it comes uh, at the top of the producers. Okay, according to its mass. Okay, then comes the secondary consumers, that is only 50 kgs, that is snake. Okay, it represents the third trophic level. And then at the fourth trophic level, the snakes are sometimes eaten by owls, and it represents the fourth trophic level, where only 10 kgs of the weight is present of the snakes. Okay, got it. Okay, so this is how the pyramid of biomass works. Okay, now next example, pyramid of number is shown to you here. You can see in the pyramid of number, the primary producers is lot in number. Okay, the primary producer, this is the primary producer, we uncountable, we can call it as uncountable, because you cannot count the grass. Okay, so grass that is present is uncountable. Okay. Okay, then whatever the grass that is eaten up by different primary consumers, their number is countable. Okay, in an ecosystem you can count these number. Okay, suppose 5 lakhs. Okay, then whatever the animals, secondary consumers that are eating these primary consumers, their number is very much less. Okay, it is 5,000. Okay, then it is 5,000. And after that, whatever the animals that are eating these secondary consumers, it is 5 only. Okay, so see, you can see this can be represented by a pyramid where the number of organisms present at the base is maximum. Okay, and this is a upright pyramid. Okay, this is a upright pyramid. Okay, this is upright pyramid. Okay, so this represents the pyramid of number. Okay, I think it is clear to all of you, the pyramid of biomass and pyramid of number. Okay, now we are going to see sometimes this pyramid of biomass and number can be inverted also. Okay, I'll tell you an example. Pyramid of biomass, where the pyramid of biomass is inverted. Okay, let's take an example where pyramid of biomass is inverted. This is a upright pyramid. An ecosystem, I am giving you example, for example pond ecosystem. Okay, whatever the small algae that is present in plant pond ecosystem, in we are talking about pond ecosystem. Okay, you can write this example if you want. Okay, pond ecosystem. Okay, so in pond ecosystem, that is algae, that is the primary producer, is having very less weight. Okay, if you collect the whole algae and weight it, dry weight it. Okay, then the weight will be maximum 5 kilos, and this 5 kilo weight is very much sufficient for the fishes that is present. Then algae, this is eaten by what? This is eaten by zooplanktons. Okay, this is eaten by zooplanktons. The combined weight of zooplanktons present in the pond will be more than the algae. Yes, and then the weight of fishes that is eating zooplanktons present in the pond will be, I think, suppose 20 kgs. We are taking the example. Okay, and then the weight of large fishes will be more than the small fishes. Okay, okay, their weight suppose 50 kilo we are taking. Okay, so I told you that producers is always placed at the bottom of the pyramid. Now when I draw this pyramid, it will be like this, okay, because at the base there is producer, yes, and this producer is algae, okay, and at the first trophic level it is zooplanktons, which is having more weight, and then small fishes at the third trophic level, and large fishes at the fourth trophic level, okay. So the pyramid of biomass can be upright like this, and the pyramid of biomass can be inverted like this, okay. Same is the case with pyramid of this number also, okay. The example which we saw in the book, or the example which I told you, is actually the pyramid of number, okay, that is upright. I am going to give you an example now for a pyramid of number that is inverted, okay. Okay, so let's draw the pyramid first, okay. Suppose this is the pyramid, okay, let me draw it properly. I hope you are able to see this, okay. So an example where tree is there, okay, trees, okay, lots of ants are living on that tree. We are talking about the pyramid of number, okay, okay. The ants, suppose they are living on the trees, okay. Now this ants is eaten up by number of birds, okay. These ants are eaten up by number of birds, okay. In place of ants, okay, number of birds, okay. So according to the number pyramid, the producers will be placed at the bottom left, and there is only one number of tree. Okay, we are taking an example. Okay, suppose the ants that is feeding on a fruit of a tree, or a tree, maybe 5 lakhs or 5,000 ants are there, okay. Suppose 5,000 number of ants are there, okay. Now these 5,000 number of ants can be eaten up by 1,000 number of birds. Number of birds here, by the number of birds I mean different kinds of all animals that eats ants, okay. It is not only birds, all animals that eats ant, okay. So their number is roughly 1,000. This is just an example, okay. So their number is roughly 1,000. So you can see the number pyramid here is now inverted, okay, because the producer that is there is only one in number. The secondary consumer is few in number, and the tertiary consumer is more in number, and therefore this pyramid becomes inverted, okay. I hope this is clear to all of you. Okay, now let's see about the pyramid of energy, okay. Pyramid of energy, okay. So remember, the pyramid of energy is always upright, okay. It is never inverted, okay. This question is asked, pyramid of energy is never inverted, it is always upright, okay. Now what happens here, you can see the maximum energy is present in the producers, okay. Here it will be maximum energy, okay. As we go up in the food chain, the primary consumer, I told you the 10% law, okay, of Lindemann, okay. The energy always 10% is energy is only carry forward, remaining 90% energy is lost, okay. So the energy level always starts decreasing as we go up the trophic level, okay. And the energy is minimum at the tertiary consumer level, okay. At the tertiary consumer level the energy is minimum, okay. So this pyramid of energy is always upright, remember, okay. It is like that only, okay. It remains always upright, okay. So this was all about the different types of energy pyramid representation that was devised by Charles Ilton in 1927, and this helps us to study the ecosystem energetics easily and properly, okay. I hope you have you came to know about the different principles of food chain, food web, okay, that we discussed in this chapter that is going on now, okay. Then the types of food chain, there are three types of food chain, that is grazing food chain, then detritus food chain, okay, then parasitic food chain, and then the different energy levels or energy types of trophic levels or the energy level diagrams or the pyramid ecological pyramid diagrams. These ecological pyramids are sometimes also called as Eltonian pyramids. Remember, okay. So the next topic, that is nutrient cycle, we are going to see in the next lecture. I hope you have understood the today's lecture. Thank you for joining, all of you students. Stay tuned for the next lecture that will be happening soon. Okay. Thank you, all of you.